Hello world, my name is Klaus Hostel and I'm doing 100 innovation keynotes in 100 days. Today's number 85, and today I'm going to walk you through 10 quotes on innovation with a bit of commentary. The format is simple. I found some quotes and I'm going to take you through them. That's it. Now, the first one. Innovation is taking two things that already exist and putting them together a new way, by Tom Freston. I love this because it's one of the best ways of explaining what innovation is. And this is what makes it different from invention, because invention is taking something, creating something new, not something out of nothing, but creating a thing, where innovation is taking this and this, put them together. Suitcase, wheels, suitcase with wheels. Example. So that's why I love Tom Freston's quote, because it's simply the best way I've come across to describe what innovation is. Quote number 2, few ideas work on the first try. Iteration is key to innovation. Sebastian Thrun. Now, I would add something to this quote, that is that methodical iteration is key to innovation, because unless you're in one of those desperate situations where you simply need to try something new, oops, the tanks are coming, let's take this anti-aircraft gun and point it not at the sky but at the ground. Oh, just what the Germans did in World War II, their 88mm guns worked pretty well as anti-tank guns, even though they were designed for being anti-air guns, at least the 1936 model. Historical trivia you didn't know you needed. However, if you're not in that sort of position, if you're like trying to do methodical innovation, you're trying to accomplish something with a goal, timeline, budget, blah, 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 then iterations are great, but you need to have some sort of structure. You need to have some sort of method to the madness. Because if not, then you're just playing the old kind of a sink the other battleship game without noting down where you've shot before. So iteration is key, yes, definitely. But methodical iteration is a better key. Let's put it that way. Quote number 3, business has only two functions, marketing and innovation. Milan Kundera. I disagree. It's a pretty well-known quote. I've seen it flung around quite a bit, but I disagree. And if you want to know more, then I suggest you take a look at the book I've written with Robert L. Kiss called The Innovation Cycle, because there we talk about how innovation, the act of innovation, is only one part, only one step of a 12-part cycle that is the innovation cycle. And if you think that you just need to do one of two things, you need to either innovate or you need to market, as Milan Kundera suggests, then I'd say you are dead wrong. So this classic quote, I just don't agree with it. If you want to know more, then I suggest you check out either the book or the keynote about the book, which is available in this series, of course. Number 4, change calls for innovation, and innovation leads to progress. Li Keqiang, and maybe I'm butchering the last name, but we'll leave it as it is. Now this is interesting, because what it basically says is when something changes, innovation will happen because there are changes. So somebody needs to do something different in order to survive or to make money or to remain healthy or whatever it is. And that innovation leads to progress. So instead of saying change leads to progress, which it doesn't always, it says change leads to innovation, and that innovation leads to progress. So basically looking at the world this way, which is a very, very positive way I find, is that whenever something happens, good, bad, just different, somebody will need to change. Somebody will need to innovate to accommodate that change, to make that new world work for them. And that innovation is what drives progress and what drives us kind of moving forward as humanity, whatever that might mean. So I think this is a very, very positive outlook that's buried beneath that quote. And it's not that strange, because you take something like the coronavirus that we're experiencing right now, there's a ton of stuff, ton of innovation that's coming out of this, because with any huge crisis, a ton of innovation happens. And once the crisis is over, some of that will just like fizzle away. but some of it will be here to stay. And that, I think, Li Keqiang would say, that is progress. So, very positive mindset. I like it, and I think it's an excellent explanation. You can't allow tradition to get in the way of innovation. There is a need to respect the past, but it's a mistake to revere your past. Now, this is a quote by Bob Iger, and Bob Iger spent 15 years as the CEO of Disney. He stepped back last year. He is one of the business leaders that I really admire, and one of the reasons for this is this quote. Another is that Bob Iger introduced the rule. I don't know if Disney still has it, to be honest, but he introduced the rule that everybody, no matter where you were on the corporate ladder, whether you were at the top of the top or the bottom of the bottom, had to spend one day a year inside the Goofy suit, or inside one of the one of the characters inside Disneyland, to remind you what it's like there, to remind you how it is to be a frontliner. And I love that. That one day you need to spend in the field. It's just one day, right? But in the field, connecting with the roots of the company, connecting with the frontliners of one of the company's most important things. Love that idea. So what Bob Iger says here is, I think, super important for a company like Disney, where he came in 2005 and he came into a company that was steeped in tradition, steeped in this is how things are done. This is who we are. This is what Walt would have done. This is what Walt would never have done. Nobody even questions who Walt is because, of course, if you're working at Disney, you will know which Walt we're talking about. And even those of us who don't, got a pretty good idea of which Walt in question we're talking about, right? So I think the fact that Bob Iger has put this down in words saying, yes, you need to respect the past, but don't revere it. Don't put it on a pedestal, because if you do, you're going to kill off innovation. I love that. And I think the testament to his skill and vision and kind of daring in doing exactly this. He spent 15 years as Disney CEO. I think that says a lot. Number 6, leading and innovation go hand in hand. The arrogance of success is to think that what you did yesterday will be sufficient for tomorrow. William Pollard. This is sheer brilliance. And the reason why is because it's so easy as humans, and I do this myself all the time. I know other people who do it all the time. It's so easy to get stuck in the idea, but it used to work. But it just worked. Oh, my bike is broken. Oh, but it worked yesterday. Well, yes, but now it's broken. Oh, but this thing we did, well, it used to work. There's so many things that used to work. How we do parenting with our kids, I can guarantee you that as somebody who has a wild tornado of a 3-year-old, there are quite a few things where we're like, but this used to work, and now it doesn't. Or she used to be able to do this, now she can't. She did not used to be able to do that, and now she can. You see that every single day as a parent. In a company, if you're running a company, oh, but this used to work, now it doesn't. Oh, this didn't used to work, and now it does. It's all the time. And even in pretty stable situations, there's a lot of this going on. In the world we live in, progress is lightning fast. Disruption is everywhere. The floor might not be made of lava, but it's at least a little bit wobbly, and we're trying to dance to accommodate it. But this, I think this is brilliant, because it says, yes, it's fine that what you did worked, but don't get too caught up in it. Don't fall in love with your numbers, with your processes, with your results. Yes, you won the World Cup this way. Yes, you doubled your sales. Yes, you found the right guy. Yes, you managed to do this or that. But it doesn't mean it'll work tomorrow. And why? Well, of course, because the rest of the world's changing. So if the rest of the world is changing, why should it work tomorrow just because it worked yesterday? Number 7, a Steve Jobs quote, a man known for clarity and vision. Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. I'll be honest, I don't know what that means. It sounds like quotable. And I guess there's a reason it ended up on this website. And I can almost hear Steve Jobs saying this with like ultimate conviction, like, we know that now. And I can see myself standing in front of an audience, looking somebody in the eye saying, innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. Think about that. And then I'll know in my heart of hearts, I don't know what I just said. Does it mean that to innovation, leaders are worth more? Does it mean that, how does innovation distinguish? Is innovation a concept that does things? How? I don't know. Quotable. Maybe one of you will know what it means. I don't. On the other hand, this, which is about art, this is pure brilliance to me. Mason Cooley. Art begins in imitation and ends in innovation. And it's beautiful for several reasons. Number one is, it's true. Any aspiring artist will start by copying somebody else, copying the masters, copying the greats, copying just the teacher, whether it's drawing with a pencil or doing ice sculptures. You start by copying to learn. And then at some point, you get good enough that you don't need to copy anymore. You start developing your own stuff. And usually, many art forms, when you get really good, you start pushing the envelope. You start innovating, not just creating new stuff, but innovating, pushing new boundaries, trying out new things. And if you want to take this quote and really kind of turn it into a little bit of extra philosophical, then take a look at it this way. Say that art begins in imitation, sure, and ends in innovation. Does it end in innovation because when you're really good at it, you start innovating? Or does that innovation end the art because suddenly you're not doing art anymore because you're changing things and maybe it's now outside the realm of art? Philosophy or bullshit? Discuss. Quote number 9. Innovation comes out of great human ingenuity and very personal passions. Megan Smith. Amazing quote. Human ingenuity, yes. We do all sorts of things as human beings, and we try to change the world around us, especially if things are going badly or they're going really well. Very nice. However, this point about very personal passions, I think that's an underestimated quality. Sometimes we have a tendency to say, oh, they're very innovative, and that's why they're doing this, or they're kind of innovative, creative people in general. Yeah, sure. But a lot of things are done because somebody was really passionate about shoes. Somebody really had an idea that, oh, I am kept up at night by Excel, dreams of Excel formulas. Let me make them real. People have very strange, very personal, and very kind of individual passions often. And I find that these are the ones, they're not the ones that drive the creativity. No, not at all. That's training and personality, all sorts of things, skill. But what drives people's passions to keep on making microphones better or experimenting with political movements or whatever it is, that's that very personal passion that Megan Smith talks about here. So I think this is a beautiful and lovely quote because it highlights not necessarily the technical part, the mechanical part, the skill part, but the human part, the drive, the passion, which is very personal. And number 10, I think you will guess why this is a favorite of mine. There is no innovation and creativity without failure. Period. Brené Brown. I can't say it any better. I'm just going to let it stand on its own and say, thank you for saying this, because I can quote you when people say, oh, but Klaus, I want innovation. I just don't want failure. I want it to be different as long as it stays the same. Or even worse, I want it to be different as long as you don't change anything. Brené Brown, there is no innovation without failure. Period. Beautiful. Now, if you're wondering, where do I get this stuff from? Where do I go to when I need quote resources? I use quotes quite a lot, especially in my writing. When I write proposals, when I write pitches, when I write keynotes, actually, lectures, articles, that sort of thing, business plans, then brainyquotes.com is my preferred resource. I find it's easy to use. It's a ton of stuff. And it's nice. That's it. Thank you.